Hi, my name's Kathryn Schutzen, and it is January 8th, 2014, and I'm sitting in the Memory Maker booth today, and I'm going to tell you a couple of stories. So the first story I'm going to tell you is a love story, and it's not mine, it's my parents. I don't know if you can see them there. They were pretty cool in the 70s when they met. Like, check out the hair, the car, the lean. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. So my parents met because they worked together. But when they first met, my dad was actually engaged to someone else. I know, it's pretty shocking. And he always kind of didn't want to tell us about it until finally I asked him. I kept on hearing these things that he had been engaged before he met my mom. So I asked him about it. And this is what he told me. He'd been dating a lovely woman, and I believe her name was Doris. And Doris had been talking on and on and on about how much she liked jewelry and, you know, rings were really nice, and her birthday was coming up. And so Dad, thinking that he was going to be the best boyfriend ever, went out to a jewelry store and bought her a ring. Well, so he gives her the ring for her birthday, and Doris is ecstatic. She is going crazy. And that's when Dad realizes something is not quite right, because Doris thinks that this is an engagement ring. That's right. And so she starts telling the families that they're getting married. And Dad's kind of like, ugh. So I don't know exactly how it ended, but it did, and ended with Dad explaining a bit of the mistake that he had made, and I believe it ended with Doris storming out of the car. And that was when it became kind of free and clear for Dad to ask out my mom. And, you know, and they've been happily married, or they were happily married there. So isn't that lovely? It's a nice little photo. I do have another story about them, because my parents, before they were married, my dad made his first home purchase and bought a cottage in Lefroy. So it was a nice area. They were really excited about it, and it was a bit of a fixer-upper. And my mom would tell me that they would go up in the winter. And I'm like, that's cool. I mean, we've been camping all our lives, so I don't remember the cottage. I don't think I was born when we had it. Until my mom explained that they had an outhouse. And that's, you know, pretty standard for that time. It was the 70s, and it was a cottage. Except they had to keep the toilet seat for the outhouse inside. So when they were going to go out in the winter, they'd warm it up by the wood stove, and then poor Mom would go trudging out in all of her winter clothes with her nice warm toilet seat under her arm into the outhouse. So we're pretty lucky now that we don't have to do that. So those are my kind of funny stories about my mom, my dad, and before they started to date.